military entrance processing station. So I'm going to assume we're not going to talk about the ASVAB here. I'm going to assume you took the ASVAB, not at MEPS. So this is going to talk about, we'll call it the health and the social part of MEPS, which can trip you up. So the recruiter's going to have you fill out a lot of paperwork before you get to MEPS, right? They're going to ask you questions that are going to be asked at MEPS. The only thing they're not going to do is not doing the physical side. So if you can answer the same questions with the recruiter, you answer at MEPS, you should be fine. Herein lies the problem. The recruiter wants you to go in. People at MEPS, they're like detectives, right? They're trying to see if you're lying, trying to see what's wrong with you. They're not your friend, bottom line. So let's talk about first the part you really can control for the most part, which is the health side. So they're going to look, are you healthy? Almost like you've had a physical before you went to sports physical. All your parts in order. The famous duck walk in the room, right? So you got everybody in a room, you're duck walking around to make sure, structurally, your back, your knees, those kind of things work. Not much you can do about that. Either you're not broken or you are broken, right? Not much you can do about that. So hopefully that's already taken care of. If you pop for drugs at MEPS, you got to have a mental illness, because they tell when you're going to MEPS, the half-life of drugs. If you've done drugs, don't go to MEPS. You're wasting your time. You're going to pop. They're going to look at your blood. They're going to look at, make sure, it's a big physical. It's not a little physical. I mean, you get the hand up to your rear end, check your prostate. Why young men get it? Don't know, but you do. The turn and cough. You probably haven't had a physical like this. It's a pretty long physical. For me, it's the first time I ever had blood drawn, right? 17-year-old, going to the Marine Corps, first time MEPS. So it's a long day, it's a long physical day. If you've had some things that the recruiter said could be an issue, concussions, physical things, whatever the recruiter put down, you talk to that recruiter, the MEPS people are going to ask you the same thing. So if you can't keep your story straight, you're going to have a problem, right? You're going to have a problem at MEPS, right off the bat. So the recruiter preps you for MEPS. You tell them, hey, have you had a concussion? Have you hurt your back? You got mental illness in your family. They're going to ask you all these things. You're going to tell them exactly what the right answer is, right? At MEPS, they're going to do the same thing. Now, they're going to scare you. You have the good cop, bad cop. And at MEPS, they treat you kind of like a hole, right? They are not friendly to you. They're not like the recruiter giving you the Marine Corps sticker and the hoodie. They're trying to, I don't know what their deal is. They think they wanted to be drill instructors, couldn't make it. They're going to treat you like an a-hole. You're going to have some E4 telling you what to do. The doctors treat you that way. It just, whatever reason, it's not a good experience. But if you went there and you said, hey, I had a concussion playing football, and it's in your record, they may ask for an MRI in advance. So don't change your story at MEPS. Don't all of a sudden get honest at MEPS. Hey, do me a favor. If you like the video, please subscribe. Get the bell so you get notifications. Share the video. It does help the channel. It doesn't cost you a penny. If you told a lie to the recruiter, stick with your lie, right? Don't lie to the recruiter, but if you did tell a lie, it's going to come up at MEPS if you change your story. And that's going to change the whole complexion of you getting into the military. You may have to start over. So that's the failing of MEPS, right? That's going to be a problem. If it's not in your chart, okay? If it's not in your chart, you saw a doctor, he diagnosed you with something, and look below, I got stuff about what not to tell your recruiter. If it's not in your chart, it didn't happen. So don't start diagnosing yourself, saying, yeah, I had ADD as a kid. You did, okay? Let me get your records. So you start getting to MEPS and becoming Mr. Tell-All, you're going to have a problem, right? So if you didn't say it to the recruiter, probably shouldn't say it at MEPS. Let's keep that right off the bat. That's the number one rule. Answer the questions they ask. Don't go expounding on questions. Oh yeah, I got dizzy one time. My chest, I was wheezing when I was 8 years old at my uncle's house. He had a cat. Answer the questions like you do with the recruiter. You don't need to expound. You're not going to jail. If they tell you, hey, if you lie to us, buddy, it's a federal crime, you're going to prison. No one's going to prison. You're not defrauding the government here. So don't get all twisted around your story. So that physical part of it, have you told the recruiter? Same thing at MEPS. That's the first way you're going to pass physical side. Hey, question for you. How many of you guys have been to MEPS and had to go more than once? Put that down below in the comment section. I'm curious how many people watching this have been to MEPS once, twice. So things you can't control. You may have a heart murmur you need a waiver for. You need to go back and see another doctor. Those kind of things you can't control. But what you can control is sticking to your darn story, right? Don't start switching your story midstream and getting all holier than thou midstream on me. Let me fix this exposure. So you did all of a sudden, now you were, hey, I never had a concussion. At MEPS, they're scaring you good cop, bad cop, and I had a concussion. All right, that's part of it. The next thing you're going to do at MEPS, you got over the health side. You stuck with your story that told the truth, but you weren't getting intimidated by the MEPS people, right? You stuck to that. They're going to ask you socio stuff, like, social stuff, basically. About your family history, about your criminal history. Have you done drugs? You tell the recruiter, nope, never done drugs, right? Never done drugs, squared away, good to go, right? Now all of a sudden you get to MEPS and they say, if you lie, you are going to prison. You're like, holy mackerel. I better tell the truth. Yeah, I smoke pot every other day. I mean, know what the question they're asking, what the purpose of the question is. Again, don't lie. But if you lie to the recruiter, at least be consistent.